Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by fellow booktuber Gloria, also known as Niloa Gray. Like me, Gloria is a massive fan of YA fiction. She does some amazing videos talking about her favourite YA books. She also does some really good videos about popular booktuber tags, so definitely go check her out. I will leave a link to her channel in the description below. Gloria is from Barcelona, so she does do her videos in Spanish, so if you know Spanish or even if you're studying it and just trying to get to grips with the language from the start, do go watch her videos. Her accent is super easy to understand. I promise you will be fine. And when I was learning the language, I found that watching YouTube videos was a great way to sort of get comfortable with the accent and the language. So yeah, definitely go check out her videos if you are learning Spanish, or even if you just want to check them out anyway. So today we're going to be talking about some of the differences studying English at a university in the UK and at a university in Spain. Heads up, this video is about our personal and individual experiences. It isn't going to be like a general experience of university because everyone's experiences are different. So most of you guys know that this June I graduated from the University of Leeds, which is in the north of England, just next to Manchester, and I did English literature and Spanish. It was a joint honours degree, whereas Gloria studied in Barcelona. So tell us more about your time.
Okay, nice to see you guys. It's great to be here. I'm Niloa Gloria. You can call me whatever you want. I don't mind.
Whatever works.
Both are my name. I studied English studies in the University of Barcelona. I had a good time. It was difficult at some point, as everything, but it was a really nice experience. And when Tilly told me about talking about the differences between studying English, it was really interesting to see how this could work out and see the main differences and similarities between our college degrees.
So my degree was a joint honours degree, so I did half my modules in Spanish culture and Spanish language and the other half in English literature. So I said I would have about 8 to 12 contact hours a week, which is hardly anything. My friends did engineering and they got like 45 contact hours a week, so they had 45 hours of classes. Wow. I don't know how many hours you had a week.
We weren't counting the hours, we were counting how many subjects, so to say, we did. Okay. We did like 5 per semester as a normal year. I mean, if you wanted to do more subjects, you could.
If you wanted to.
If you wanted to, but it's not, I don't advise that. All my subjects were in English, all of them, except for the first year that they make like a general introduction. But from second year, I think, or even the second semester from the first year, we did everything in English.
I find it so interesting that countries around the world do all their classes in English, even if they aren't in England. I think that's crazy for me as an English speaker that all the other countries prefer to teach in English. And I mean, that just shows how lucky I am that English is my first language, because you guys have to learn it and it's super complicated. Okay, so now we're going to move on to modules, and I want to talk about some of the modules that we had to take, some of the ones that we chose to do as well. So tell me about some of the modules you did throughout your time at university. First year, second year, final year, all of them.
Our subjects were divided into linguistics and literature, and then within literature you had history and then like different periods of time within literature, like the 19th century, from the 13th to the 17th century in England, in the United States, and then in linguistics you had semantics, you had syntax, you had grammar, you had phonetics and phonology.
Oh, I hate that.
I hate that one too. So I liked literature far more than linguistics. And when you do your final thesis, like your research paper on last year, you have to choose between literature or linguistics. On first year, I had, like I said before, I had some subjects that were in Catalan or Spanish, depending on the teacher. Then I had Latin that I did in Catalan.
This is 4 languages you can speak then. I mean, Catalan, Spanish, English and Latin. Brits just speak one language. Honestly, I'm the biggest cheerleader for British people learning more than one language. It is essential that we need to.
I mean, that's one of the greatest things for me. Being able to speak more than one language, it's awesome and provides you the opportunity of having so many input from other different cultures. And I don't know, it's great. I mean, I love the English culture. I love learning about it. I love its history, its development, everything. Second year onwards, I did phonetics and phonology. I passed phonetics and phonology 1.
Well done.
the first time, and then I had some literature models that were really interesting. I keep some of the books, that we worked with. Then it became really hard at third course because I had to start working in order to be able to continue with my degree. You need to prioritize what's important and say, okay, my healthiness, it's more important than doing a damn exam.
So you did a massive range of modules then, all through your university,
yeah, a lot.
Different ones. So for mine, it was a bit different. During honours students, you had to do half compulsory ones and half ones that you chose. So the compulsory ones in first year was so boring, and they covered like a huge genre. So there was one just on poetry, there was one just about how to write an essay, and they were so boring, but you had to do them because they were compulsory.
Oh god.
But when you got to like second and third year, they became a lot more specific and a lot more niche, and you kind of had more reign over the ones that you could choose. You still had to do some boring compulsory ones. I did a 18th century literature one, which I'm sure you would love because you love old books.
I did an 18th century, I did, but I can't remember which books I did, to be honest. So from the 18th century, which ones did you do?
Oh my god, that's a good question. We did Persuasion, we did School for Scandal, we did lots of plays, we did lots of poetry as well, but I hated it. I'm sorry. I couldn't read it. It was so complicated. Final year, the modules were so much better. I think my final year, like yours, was the best year for modules. We had to do post-colonial literature, which was really interesting. So it was literature from like colonized countries. Personally, I think every single British student should do. I think it's really important that every student knows about the British Empire and the devastating consequences that it caused. Everyone needs to know, and we don't get taught in British schools about it enough, or if at all. So as a British person, everyone needs to know about it, and I'm the biggest cheerleader for teaching the consequences of the empire at school. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that it happens with Spanish as well, with Spain's history. We don't accept what we've done because we know it's negative. So I've studied about the British Empire, and I didn't know that they were in Australia and New Zealand. I had no idea. And we
it's absolutely horrendous.
It happens with the Spanish conquest in Latin America. The thing is that we did terrible things, and we need to accept that we did them.
I know, obviously I'm from Bristol, and the fall of the Colston statue, which was amazing. Two of my friends were actually there at the protest, and they sent me a video. They were like, you need to be here, look at what's happening. And obviously that was such a good feeling for me. Like my city was actually like saying like, F you, Colston. So that was amazing.
If we want to move on, we need to learn about history, and we can tear down these monuments and just learn from them in another kind of way and perspective.
I think Bristol's quite a multicultural city, and imagine being a person of colour and just walking down the street and seeing that. It's just absolutely horrendous. I'm so glad that it got down. I mean, they were interesting modules, but they were hard modules, not like hard to do, but difficult to read about and stuff. But honestly, I'm so glad they had to do it. So in terms of modules that we did, are there any that you wish you could have taken or done instead if you had more time?
I mean, the ones I did, I enjoyed them a lot. I think that I wished there were different models, like other ones. I've talked with you about this. In the UK, you've got like fantasy models, and you've got creative writing models. We don't have that in Spain. It's like we are like old-fashioned in that way, and I don't like it. I remember I was taking my modernist and postmodernist narrative model with my teacher, and I was talking with him one in class, and I was like, I have just a question. You as a teacher, why don't you put an optional, it's not an obligatory one, not a one you must do, but an optional fantasy or like
big up the YA.
So he said, I don't know, because that could be really interesting. And he said that I would like to teach that. So I was really sad that I couldn't take those kind of things. And creative writing, I've told you, I want to be a writer, and I've seen that you've got a whole degree in creative writing there.
Yeah, I did a module in creative writing, and my final piece was, I think it was 10 like feminist poems, and it was so much fun. I know in my final year, like I said, all the modules got a lot more niche and more specific. You could do like a David Bowie module, analysing like the lyrics. I know, it was great, right? Like I said, this is just Leeds. I don't know if other unis did this, but Leeds was amazing for module choice. First year there was actually a British like witchcraft module, and
What?
And Harry Potter was on the syllabus, yeah, so you could actually study Harry Potter. I didn't take it because I took something else, I think, but I wish I had, because I would have loved to have studied Harry Potter. But yeah, so I found that was a really interesting module that you could do. So I'm, big up Leeds for putting that one on there.
Yeah.
So what was the worst book that you had to study? Or worst book?
I think that I didn't like Wuthering Heights, but I liked studying it, which is it's quite different. I think the worst book I did. I've got it here, I think. Yeah. No, I remember which one is it. I've got it here too. It's an On the Body. You know about this one?
No, I don't know. I know the author, but I don't know the book.
It's about social constructions, and you don't know if the main character is a boy or girl. And Ed falls in love with a woman who's married, and it's really interesting to see how I didn't like it because I thought that it was really toxic. Everyone loved it. Everyone. And the teacher was like, normally this book is really good for everyone. And is there anyone who doesn't like it? And I'm like, why? And everyone
I absolutely hate this book.
And everyone was like, why don't you like it? Because he or she is obsessed with love and being loved, and I didn't like it.
Both of our worst books were like massive classics that we probably should have enjoyed.
Yeah.
So mine was The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It was the first book that I read at university. So I went in and I was like, I'm going to enjoy this. Like, this is going to be the be all and end all of my degree. Like, I need to enjoy this because this is what it's going to be like. Hated it. So it's from 1899. It's not even that old. Like, I should have been able to read it. It's also 70 pages long. It is so short. I have read like short stories or fanfics that are longer than that, but it took me 4 weeks to read. 4 weeks because I couldn't do it. It made me think. I was like, have I made a mistake choosing English lit at university?
Oh God.
So from the worst book to the best book, which book was it you read that totally changed your whole perspective, or just one that you really enjoyed and you are so glad that you studied it at university?
It wasn't a book in particular. I think that what I liked, it was the whole 19th century perspective. I don't know, it was great to see the great difference between the 18th and 19th century, how everything changed all of a sudden, and how this was reflected on novels and poems and everything. Yeah. You know, I think that was my favorite part of my degree. But if I have to choose a book, I wanted to study Pride and Prejudice. I'm gonna go with the classic one because everyone preached it.
It's so opposite.
But I was like, but why is it so good? Why is it so good? What is in the book that makes it so special?
Did it live up to your expectations?
I think it did, but I was expecting something more at the end of the book. I knew that Darcy and Elizabeth got together, but I was like, there's something more. No, it just ends up when they get engaged, and that's it.
Oh, I've never read it, so spoilers to anyone that's watching this that hasn't read it. Maybe I should actually read. I think I bought it in a charity shop ages ago, but I just haven't got around to reading it because I can't stop reading YA.
I mean, it's really good. And then, I don't know, about Jane Eyre as well. The book was amazing. It's my favorite book. I mean, I was rereading the part that Mr. Rochester confesses his love for her. And it's ridiculous how she's like, you don't love me. And he's like, I do. And she's like, no, you don't. I'm so plain and ugly. How can you love me? And he's like, can't you just shut the fuck up and let me love you? And I was like, this is ridiculous.
She complains so much. I've never read a protagonist that complains as much as Jane Eyre does.
And what about you? Which was the book that made you like,
I think so. In my final year, I did South African contemporary literature. In the module, we did texts that were about like post-apartheid South Africa, and we did like a short story about the devastating effects of HIV in the country. We did a text about the South African gangs and like prison system, and it was just so interesting. But we did a book. It was a collection of poems, and it was called Collective Amnesia. It was by Kaloka Putuma, and the poems were about being black and being gay in South Africa, like being a lesbian woman. Wow. And it was so interesting. They were so poignant and so moving, and they were about like homophobic violence and murder, and they were just so like startling, but they were just so beautifully written. And yeah, I feel like reading those poems just completely changed my whole uni experience. So shout out to Brendan, my professor, who I'll go on to next in the next question. Yeah, like he chose the texts for that module, and he said at the start of the module, you know, every year I do this module and I look at the texts, and I've been doing Patuma's poetry for 2 years now, and they are hard to read, but they get such a good response. And I was like, oh, I'm sure that'd be fine. And I read them and I was like, oh my god, like these poems are so good. So yeah, I'm gonna shout out. I think I've spoken about these poems before on my channel, but definitely you should read them.
You talked about that he was your favorite teacher, maybe?
Yeah. So yeah, who was your favorite professor? That's our last question. Do you have any professors you want to give a shout out to? Any ones that you think particularly made your university experience very good?
There are quite a few. I think like Isabel, who I did 19th century. I did Irish language and culture, which was really interesting. Yeah, we did.
What were they like? Were they just like super relaxed or super just chatty? Do they help you out quite a lot? Or
I think that Isabel was quite like chill. Chavi as well. I think most of them. I think the other one was David. Maybe it was with a D.
Okay.
he was my American 19th century poetry teacher. He was really nice, and he was like he made the classes really interesting. It was really good.
Mine were really relaxed as well, and like so chill. So in Leeds University, the English department is in like terraced houses, so all the rooms are like, all the offices are like tiny little bedrooms. And so we had a poetry module in like the attic of a Victorian house, and it was so small, and my professor was just speaking, and suddenly there was like a snoring noise, and we were like, what the hell? And he had a dog like underneath his desk that was just asleep, and he was like, oh yeah, that's my dog, and he just carried on. And I was like, there's been a dog in this room for 45 minutes. No one has told me. Are you kidding me? It was like a tiny terrier, and it was just under the desk, and it was so cute. And yeah, he was like, yeah, this is like the English dog. And I was like, oh my god. So in general, would you say you enjoyed studying English at university?
Yeah, I'm really happy because I learned a lot.
Me too. I'm glad that I took it even after I read Heart of Darkness, and I was like, this degree is not for me. And then obviously I stuck it through and ended up doing some amazing modules. I'm glad that I chose it. So special shout out to University of Leeds and University of Barcelona. They have not sponsored us on this video. Okay, so I think we've covered most of our experiences studying in Spain, studying in England and the UK. I'd be really interested to see if you guys watching have either studied English or another subject in the UK and in Spain, and if you had any different experiences or any similar experiences as well, please let us know. Like the video if you have enjoyed it, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Special shout out and thank you to Gloria. Thank you so much for being a part of this video. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. I've loved having you on, and guys, yeah, go check out our channel.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was so great. I mean,
I feel like we've refreshed our knowledge of our university experience, even though we both just graduated. I feel like there's things that I forgot about.
Yeah,
amazing. Well, thanks again, and I shall see you guys next time.
Bye.